On February 21st, 2025, the CEO of one of the world's largest cryptocurrency exchanges sat down at his computer to approve what looked like a routine transfer. The transaction appeared legitimate. The interface looked identical to what he saw every day. The multi-signature approval system showed the correct destination addresses. He clicked Approve. In that single moment, $1.5 billion in Ethereum disappeared. Not to a criminal gang, not to a ransomware group, not to some basement hacker with a laptop and too much free time, to a government, specifically to the government of North Korea, through a cyber unit so deeply embedded in Pyongyang's military infrastructure that some analysts no longer treat it as a hacking group at all. They call it a weapons program. The group's name is Lazarus, and the Bybit heist in February 2025 was not their largest operation by ambition. It was their largest by dollar amount. They had been building toward it for nearly a decade. To understand what Lazarus actually is, you have to understand what North Korea actually needs. North Korea is one of the most sanctioned nations on earth. It has no meaningful access to the international banking system. It cannot import oil at scale. It cannot conduct foreign trade through conventional channels. And yet it maintains an active nuclear weapons program, a ballistic missile development operation, and a military that absorbs roughly a quarter of its entire GDP. That money has to come from somewhere. In the early 2000s, North Korean intelligence began organizing what would become the Lazarus Group, known internally, according to a North Korean defector, as the 414 Liaison Office. It operates under the Reconnaissance General Bureau, which is North Korea's primary foreign intelligence agency. These are not freelancers, they are state employees. They receive salaries, report to commanders, and operate with the full technical and logistical support of a nation-state. Their early operations targeted banks. In 2015, they hit Banco del Austro in Ecuador for $12 million and Vietnam's Tien Phong Bank for $1 million. In February 2016, they nearly pulled off one of the most audacious bank robberies in history, sending 35 fraudulent transfer requests through the SWIFT network from Bangladesh Bank's account at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. 30 of the requests were blocked when a typo triggered a compliance flag. 5 went through. $81 million landed in accounts in the Philippines. By the time anyone understood what had happened, it was gone. The SWIFT hack announced to the intelligence community that something new was operating in the world. A nation-state was using its cyber capabilities not for espionage, not to steal secrets or compromise infrastructure, but to steal cash at industrial scale. Then Bitcoin happened. Cryptocurrency, from North Korea's perspective, was a gift. It moved across borders without banks. It didn't require correspondent accounts or SWIFT codes. It could be converted, mixed, split, and reassembled across dozens of blockchains before anyone could trace where it went. And it was largely unregulated, held by platforms with security postures ranging from excellent to catastrophically bad. Lazarus pivoted, and between 2017 and 2025, they executed what amounts to the most sustained and successful financial crime operation in modern history. Let me give you the sequence because the scale of this only lands when you see it laid out. 2017, they breach South Korean exchange Bybit twice and drive it into bankruptcy. They begin systematically targeting crypto exchanges across Asia. 2018, they steal $534 million from Japanese exchange Coincheck, at the time the largest exchange hack ever recorded. 2020, Upbit, South Korea's largest exchange, $49 million gone. The group impersonated administrators and initiated unauthorized transfers. 2021, Qcoin, $275 million. Lazarus compromised the exchange's hot wallet private keys and drained multiple assets simultaneously. March 2022, the Ronin Bridge hack, $620 million. This one deserves its own paragraph. The Ronin network was a blockchain built to support Axie Infinity, a play-to-earn game that had attracted millions of users, mostly in Southeast Asia, many of whom were earning meaningful income through the game during the pandemic. The network used a bridge, a piece of infrastructure that allows assets to move between blockchains. Lazarus spent months conducting reconnaissance on the project. They identified that the network's validator system, which was supposed to require 5 of 9 signatures to approve any large transaction, had been quietly configured to require only 4 after a surge in traffic. Then they waited for the right moment. In a single transaction on March 23, 2022, they drained 173,600 Ethereum and 25.5 million USDC. The theft wasn't even discovered for 6 days. 6 days, $620 million. Nobody noticed. The US Treasury subsequently sanctioned the wallet address, a first for a DeFi exploit. It didn't recover the funds, but it made converting them significantly harder. The pace continued. June 2023, Atomic Wallet, a non-custodial wallet provider, loses $100 million across more than 4,100 individual user accounts. September 2023, Stake.com, an online gambling platform, loses $41 million. The FBI formally attributed both to Lazarus. 2024, WazirX, India's largest cryptocurrency exchange, is breached for $235 million. Chainalysis would later calculate that North Korea-affiliated groups stole $1.34 billion in 2024 alone, representing 61% of all cryptocurrency stolen worldwide that year. Then came February 21st, 2025, and Bybit. The mechanics of the Bybit hack are worth understanding in detail because they represent the evolution of Lazarus's methods, from brute force technical exploits to something considerably more sophisticated and considerably harder to defend against. Bybit, based in Dubai, used a multi-signature cold wallet system for storing large amounts of funds. Cold wallets are considered the gold standard of crypto security. They're not connected to the internet, and moving funds out requires multiple authorized signatures from multiple authorized people. To make this process more manageable, Bybit used a third-party platform called Safe Wallet to present a user interface for approving transactions. Lazarus did not hack Bybit. They hacked Safe Wallet. Specifically, they compromised the machine of a Safe Wallet developer and used that access to inject malicious code into the Safe Wallet front end, the interface that Bybit signers were looking at when they approved transactions. The code did something elegant and devastating. It showed the correct destination address on screen while silently rerouting the actual transaction to a Lazarus-controlled wallet. Bybit's CEO, Benjo, approved the transaction. It looked right. All the verification systems said it was right. The multi-signature approval was obtained legitimately, but the money went to North Korea. Within 48 hours, Lazarus began moving the funds. Nearly 400,000 Ethereum, worth $1.5 billion, was split across hundreds of intermediate wallets, then converted using cross-chain bridges, bounced across blockchains, swapped into Bitcoin, routed through mixers and decentralized exchanges, and ultimately moved toward OTC brokers in Southeast Asia, who converted it into fiat currency deposited in DPRK-controlled accounts. By March 20th, less than a month after the hack, approximately 86% of the stolen funds had already been laundered. Benjo declared war on Lazarus. He set up a bounty website. He reached out to every major exchange. He made public appeals. They recovered a fraction. The total amount North Korea has stolen in cryptocurrency since 2017 now exceeds $6 billion, according to blockchain analytics firm Elliptic. In the first half of 2025 alone, led by the Bybit heist, Chainalysis confirmed more than $2.17 billion stolen by North Korean-affiliated groups, surpassing their entire 2024 total in just 6 months. Here's what most coverage of this story gets wrong. It treats Lazarus as a cybercrime story. It is not primarily a cybercrime story. It is a sanctions evasion story, and specifically a story about what happens when a nation under maximum international economic pressure finds a mechanism that bypasses every traditional financial control simultaneously. North Korea cannot access SWIFT. It cannot use correspondent banking. Its oil imports are capped by UN resolution. Its arms exports are sanctioned, but cryptocurrency has no SWIFT. It has no correspondent banks. It has no UN enforcement mechanism that works at the transaction level. And for the first 8 years of Lazarus's crypto theft operation, the industry's response ranged from inadequate to non-existent. The U.S. Treasury has sanctioned over 100 Lazarus-linked wallet addresses. Lazarus creates new ones. OFAC has filed indictments against named Lazarus operators. They are in Pyongyang. There is no extradition treaty. The FBI has issued public service announcements urging exchanges to block transactions linked to known Lazarus addresses. The laundering infrastructure is fast enough to move funds before the PSA reaches the relevant exchanges. There is one defense that has shown meaningful results: preemptive intelligence sharing between blockchain analytics firms, exchanges, and law enforcement. When Lazarus-linked addresses are identified in real time and blacklisted across major platforms simultaneously, it slows the laundering operation enough to increase recovery rates. After the Bybit hack, this coordination was faster than it had ever been. It still wasn't fast enough to recover more than a small fraction of $1.5 billion. What the Lazarus Group represents is something the financial system has not had to contend with before: a state actor whose primary economic activity is financial crime. Not as a side operation, not as an intelligence-gathering byproduct, as the actual mechanism by which the state funds itself. The United Nations panel of experts has documented that North Korea's missile program depends directly on funds generated by Lazarus operations. The researchers building the intercontinental ballistic missiles that have been test-fired over Japan, they are in part being paid with stolen Ethereum. The operations have not slowed. If anything, they have accelerated. By early 2026, analysts were tracking multiple new attack campaigns, targeting DeFi protocols and NFT infrastructure. The operational tempo, the frequency of confirmed attacks, increased by roughly 40% compared to 2024. The attacks are getting fewer and larger, less noise, more impact. The $1.5 billion Bybit heist took less preparation time than the $620 million Ronin hack 3 years earlier. What changed is not Lazarus. What changed is that the targets got richer, and the infrastructure for moving and concealing stolen funds got better. When the Bangladesh bank heist happened in 2016, it was treated as a singular anomaly, a shocking one-time event that exposed a vulnerability in the SWIFT network. 9 years later, it looks like the opening chapter of a systematic, decade-long extraction operation that has moved more money than most mid-sized banks process in a year. The blockchain doesn't forget. Every transaction Lazarus has ever made is recorded permanently and publicly on-chain. Analysts at Chainalysis and Elliptic can trace individual Satoshis from a 2022 Ronin hack, through a 2023 mixer, through a 2024 bridge, through a 2025 OTC broker. The trail is there, it's detailed, and it ends at a wall, a country with no extradition treaty, no international banking access to freeze, and no meaningful pressure lever that the international community has found effective in 30 years of trying. The Lazarus Group is not going to run out of targets. There are trillions of dollars of value locked in cryptocurrency infrastructure right now, held by platforms with security teams a fraction the size of the nation-state adversary probing them daily. The Bybit hack was the biggest. It probably won't be the last. If you want to follow the money on the next one, subscribe, because this story is not over.